Hello?
Hello.
Hey. Fucking Zoom, man. Hey, this is Zach Moonshine from Metal Devastation Radio. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
All right, man. Sorry about the thing. I was sitting here trying to figure out how to set this up, and
well, got it sorted, I hope.
yeah. So tell us, man, what's going on in the world of Paul?
Well, just got home from our Cannibal Corpse South American tour the other day, which was a huge success. So that was always a good thing here, and then, just gearing up to, get releasing the side project, the Umbilicus project, just, of course, we released a song, a couple weeks ago now, a week ago, I guess it's at this point, and, gearing up to get that released here, hopefully by September. But, that's about it, right now.
Oh yeah, man. So with the new side project, man, you guys took a pretty drastic. It's a pretty drastic change from what Cannibal Corpse fans are used to, right?
Oh yeah, totally, man. I mean, if you do a little research, I did a project about 20 years ago with Jack Owen, the original guitar player in the band in Cannibal Corpse, and we did a rock project. I mean, it's just it's just music I love, man. I mean, it's in my heart, rock and roll from the late 60s, early 70s, throughout the 80s. And I've, been passionate about that for years, and Jack Owen was as well. And we did a little project, as I said, about 20 years ago, just to kind of break up the monotony of, blasting and playing death metal all the time, and, playing music that we both really had a passion for, So we wrote some songs. We ended up playing 2 shows in the Tampa Bay area here in Tampa, Florida, and, wrote some originals, but, didn't really go anywhere with it. We made some demos. The plan was, if anything, maybe record and see what could happen, but it all fell apart after like a year or 2 at most. And then that was that. So if we fast forward 20 years till like 2 years ago now, when right at the beginning of the pandemic, I just finished recording Violence Unimagined for Cannibal Corpse, and the bass player that was in that project that I speak of with Jack, he's my really good friend and still in Tampa here, and I got a hold of him saying, hey man, you want to jam? You want to maybe jam some of these old songs? I mean, I got a little time. Cannibal's not going to be touring for a little while, and I just finished recording. Why not do something here, right? So him and I got together and started practicing some of the old songs that we did with Jack. And Jack he doesn't live in Florida anymore. He's since moved, and of course he's been out of the band since 2005, out of Cannibal. So, I don't really speak to him too much, don't see him too much. And, and then I know he's not in the area anymore. So we were like, let's, maybe we'll see if he's interested. If not, let's just move on here. He wasn't interested, lives in the Illinois area now. And so we said, hey, let's get a new guitar player. Let's just let's just do this. You and I, his name's Vern, the bass player. Let's get a new guitar player, and let's just start from scratch, basically. I guess to have some fun, kind of revisiting what we did 20 years ago, and that's how Umbilicus came about. We got Taylor Nordberg involved in the project then as the guitar player, and man, what a great talent he is, and a great guitar player, and he's got the love for this kind of music. I mean, that obviously was important, not just to bring somebody in that just wants to be in a project or do something, but somebody that obviously was going to fit with what we wanted to do and have that same passion. And Taylor is that man. So we got really, really lucky, him, wanting to be involved and having the same likes as us. And then we just started writing some songs. So that would have been, maybe around June, July of 2000 now. And we end up writing 10 songs. But I know my view, and I think Vern's view, and then of course with Taylor, it was like, let's actually do something with this project. Let's not just mess around and do it. We're doing it for fun, of course, but I think the whole goal was then to do what we just did, to actually write some good songs that we feel are good songs, and then to record them properly and get them out to the masses. And and then that's where we're at now. Of course, we brought in Brian Stevenson, the singers, to round out the project. And and here we are, on the verge of releasing our debut album in a few months, and we wrote 10 songs that we feel are really true to us, and that we're really fond of, and we're really happy and proud of. So you would have heard the one by now, the Hello Future song that we released last week. So that's basically how it came about and where we're at this point.
Hell yeah, man. Going back to your beginnings, can you tell us about some of your influences growing up and how you got into how did you end up getting into death metal and then Cannibal Corpse and all that?
Well, yeah, I mean, just like, anybody else that starts music, you're going to have your influences of your time. And, we're products of the 80s, of the, getting heavily into music as teenagers when we're in the early 80s and mid 80s. So, it all stemming from the original heavy metal kind of bands or hard rock bands, because when we grew up, so it was bands like Black Sabbath and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and, Van Halen and Rush and all those kind of bands that were the heavy rock bands, getting into the metal, because it wasn't even that much in the sense of metal at that time, so we're growing with these scenes. And then it obviously took a really quick turn, and the paths, everything moved so fast, I should say, I guess, in the sense of, look what happened between like 1980 and 1987, or what have you, of, going from just regular hard rock and metal to speed metal, to thrash metal, to death metal, all within a few years. Everything was just morphing and changing, and we were riding that wave as teenagers, and like I said, products of the time. So so those were, Metallica, of course, was a huge influence when I look back for, early Cannibal, and, just getting into the heavier stuff, and then of course Slayer comes around, and then they're a game changer. And, Dave Lombardo is my idol and my king, and, the guy I really wanted to emulate more than anybody, I guess, once I heard Slayer, and especially heard Rain and Blood. And, that would have been 86, 87 era. And, I'm obviously starting to play music at that point, because Cannibal was formed in December of 88. So, we got our bands that we're mulling around with in the, around 86, 87 or so, trying to just get good at instruments and play, somewhat music that we like to play, of the thrash variety, I guess, because really death metal wasn't there yet, so it was really all those kinds of bands, Creator, Dark Angel, in those latter years of the 80s and of the late teens, before just becoming, Cannibal becoming a thing, and then really kind of making us want to, play that style, I guess, just be as extreme as possible and as heavy as we can, and take the bands that we knew and try to take them to the next level of sorts. I guess that was our goal. So, so it's really all that stuff that, happened in the 80s, that was heavy, that, and metal-like, that was, were huge influences up until, Cannibal was formed.
Oh yeah, man. The first time I ever heard you guys was actually in the theater. It was in my teens, man. Like a lot of people, I went to see Ace Ventura, that movie, and I had heard about you guys, but I'd never actually heard the music yet. So I was in the theater, and I remember when that part came on, you guys are on there jamming. It was so fucking loud, and it was it was heavy, and just immediately I was like, after that I was like, oh fuck, man, I gotta get all the records, man.
Yeah, that was a huge thing, man. The movie was a big deal for a lot of people, and it helped death metal, it helped Cannibal Corpse. I mean, we're established at that point, but when you're in a movie like of that magnitude and that widespread of publicity, kind of a thing, so many people have told us the same story you just mentioned of seeing us for the first time, or hearing death metal for the first time and Cannibal Corpse for the first time because of Ace Ventura, and that's amazing, and that's a huge deal, so we're of course forever grateful for being in the movie, and for doing what it did and all that. So that's awesome, man.
How did that actually happen? Like how did you guys end up in the movie?
Well, Jim was a fan of the music back then. I mean, he found it intriguing. There's some interviews with him, I think, in the early 80s or early 90s, where he's talking about bands like Napalm Death and and what have you, and Cannibal, that he's just finds the music interesting. Obviously, it was so new at the time, and it was definitely I could see it being intriguing to a lot of people, and he was one of them, I guess, and he wanted us in the movie, so. It was kind of simple as that. I mean, right, we were already, like I said, established. I guess Tomb of the Mutilate just came out, basically, so, I mean, we have 3 albums under our belt, and, we're moving along pretty decent at that point, and, he wanted us in the movie, so that was, pretty much how it came about, and it was an amazing thing to be a part of.
Oh, yeah. There was actually something else I wanted to ask you about, was that song that you were playing in the movie. Right after the movie, I think I went and bought The Bleeding, and there's a part in Fucked with a Knife that almost sounds similar. It sounds very similar to Hammer Smash Face, which you're playing in the movie. And I was always wondering, like, was that meant to? Is there a story behind that? Like.
No, man, that's got to be just coincidence, a part. I mean, I'm trying to think what part you'd be thinking about. There's the stabs in the middle of Fucked with a Knife that are just dun 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 dun, and that's so I guess that could be somewhat reminiscent of dun 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 dun, but it's a completely different feel, and it's a different a whole different thing. So I never even thought of that until you mentioned it right now. So that would just be a coincidence, a coincidental thing. I mean, obviously we played death metal and we play primitive style death metal, and nothing is too far off from the last song. I mean, we try to make it diverse as possible under the context of being Cannibal Corpse and brutal extreme death metal. So I could see, of course, there's going to be maybe some similarities here and there. If you really went through our catalog, and you can go, oh, hey, you've done that. Well, of course, we've stabbed the cymbals how many times, and we've done it in that rhythm for a bit or something. So yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that, but that would have been just an utter coincidence, a coincidence in that way.
That's cool, man. Yeah, you guys have a very extensive catalog, and I've been a fan of you guys for a long time, man. And like every album, it's amazing too. Like you guys maintain. It's always, I don't know, like it's always exciting to hear a new Cannibal Corpse record, but at the same time, like. What to expect, like it's like kind of like AC/DC or something like that. You guys are like the death metal version of that, I think, because you maintain, you stick to your thing, but you guys always add in a few little things that definitely change it up. I mean, each record has its own sound.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, that's what I always tell people, when they talk about stuff like that. I mean, it's a great analogy, and, we're Cannibal Corpse. We don't stray too far from the formula, but like I always like to say, exactly, play all 15 records back to, from front to back, in order, you'll notice it's all Cannibal, but it's always going to be something just a little different, right? Little subtle differences here and there, things that we might not have done on the last record or the last song, but nothing too far gone or too crazy that it's just not going to be Cannibal Corpse, So, I mean, I think that's been a big key to our success. The fans know what to expect, and, we know what we want to do, and we're not going to stray from that because we're Cannibal Corpse, and we want to just keep doing what we started, years ago. So yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, and, it's good to hear stuff like that, that we have that consistency and we have that kind of, I guess our fans, like you said, know what to expect, and to be compared to any bands like that. I mean, I've never compared us to anybody, but right, when we always get the comparison, we're the AC/DC of death metal, or the Iron Maiden of death metal, or or the Motorhead of death metal. I mean, those are huge compliments, of course, because we know what they mean. There's that consistency there with those bands that you just you tend to you expect, and you're going to get from those kind of bands. You're going to get what you you should be getting, and then that's the same thing with Cannibal Corpse, right?
Yeah, you guys are definitely one of those bands that when you put out a new record, even if I haven't heard the song yet, the single or anything yet, I know I can go buy it. I'm going to be happy.
That's right. That's good to hear, man. No, I think that's how we have such a great fan base, because exactly, no one's going to be worried that, oh no, what are they going to do on this record, or no, yeah, you're going to get Cannibal Corpse, man. So and I think that's a great. It's great that we have the fans' attitude, like yourself there, that they know what to expect, and that's great.
Man, I was talking to Jeremy Kling last night, as a matter of fact. And I was asking him, because about a week ago I was on vacation in Florida, and I was down there and I was sitting on the beach, had my toes in the sand, drinking a Corona, looking at my kids running around on the beach, the sunshine. I kept thinking to myself, what the fuck is it about this place that makes such brutal death metal? And I was asking him about it, but I wanted to ask you about it as well, since, what's your take on that, man?
Man, I think it's just coincidence, another coincidental thing. I mean, because it's kind of like the whole Tampa being the death metal capital of the world kind of a thing. It's like, man, to me, it was just kind of coincidence. I mean, really. I mean, we're actually from Buffalo, New York. So that's where the band started, you know. So it's not like, oh, well, we moved to Florida and everything's different and we're, playing the way we play. It's like, no, man, we started in Buffalo and that's where Cannibals formed and originated. And then we moved to Florida. I mean, and we've, that was what, after we did the Bleeding, so we're well established. We're well into our careers and well into our sound, so to say. And then when, we moved down to Tampa, we get lumped in with the Tampa scene because now, of course, we've been here for a long time, so a lot of people might not even realize that we're from Buffalo, or they think we're from Tampa because we've been here forever. But I remember when we first moved down, exactly, you look at the bands that are here. You got Obituary, you got Morbid Angel, you got Deicide, you got Death, you got Monstrosity, Brutality. I mean, Atheist, all these bands in the central kind of like Florida area, and they're all doing well, and they're some of the biggest bands in the genre, and you're like, why? And then you look at also, well, where are these guys from? I think Obituary are really the only band per se that are from Florida. Everybody else came from somewhere else. They all just end up moving to Florida. And that's probably before their career. It's not like, I don't think anybody moved down here because the scene was any better per se or anything like that. I really believe it was just coincidence, and I'll tell you though, man, the one thing with Florida though is that, you kind of just mentioned it a little bit, man, what a paradise, right? It's just it's a happy place, it's all, I'm always, you're always feeling good when you're in Florida, and I think positivity, for positivity's sake and creativity's sake, I don't know, I like being positive. I like waking up and feeling good and looking at having the sun out, and those things maybe contribute now, but like I said, it didn't happen in the early days because that wasn't the case, so it's a tough kind of a tough analogy. It's a tough thing to mention, but I really think a lot of these, a lot of it is coincidence with the Florida thing. But man, I'll tell you, I love living here, and I couldn't expect, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else after moving from Buffalo and being down here and like just enjoying the sun and it's such a key thing to to morale and to positivity, and when you have that sun out every day, I mean, it's just something about it, man. It's amazing.
Very cool, Paul. All right, man. Well, I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let your fans know?
Well, just appreciate the interview, and thanks for the support over the years for Cannibal, and everybody check out the Umbilicus. Like I said, we're getting that rolling out, and we should have it out, the whole album out within a couple of months here, but some more singles to come before that. So just keep an eye out on that, Umbilicus, and I appreciate all the support no matter what. So
thanks, man. Hey, before I let you go, can I get you to make us a station tag?
Yeah, man.
All right, whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Paul from Cannibal Corpse, Umbilicus, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
Metal Devastation Radio, okay. Hey, this is Paul Mazurkiewicz from Cannibal Corpse and also from Umbilicus, and you are listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah, man. Perfect.
Awesome, dude.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Paul, man. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and I'll get this uploaded to the podcast and send it over to everybody and put it everywhere,
awesome,
man.
Sounds good, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the interview. Nice talking to you.
All right, man. Cheers.
Hey, you take care, man.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.